Hello, this is Lacquerography, and this is my wish list for November 2024's Polish Pickup. The theme this month is nostalgic toys. I've already gone in and made a first impressions preliminary wish list, and right now I have 12 items sitting in that wish list. Let's dive right in and take a look at the 12 items that are catching my eye this month. The first item on my wish list is by Atomic Polish, and this one is called California Raisins. This polish was inspired by the California Raisins Happy Meal toys. California Raisins is a deep purple maroon based polish with pigment that shifts from green to blue. It is opaque in 2 to 3 coats. So when I first saw this color, it actually caught my eye immediately because there was something a little bit deep and mysterious and shifty to it. The color looks to me to be absolutely beautiful. And I really don't think that I have anything quite like it in my collection. At least I couldn't think of anything at all that reminds me of this polish. Also, somewhere in my memory of when I was really young, I can remember one of my grandfathers who passed away long ago. I can remember him having this thing with California raisins, just thinking that they were the greatest. My connection to this inspiration is really quite foggy at best, but there is some sort of really small memory that I have of my very young childhood where I can remember my grandfather being so enamored by California raisins. And it's actually been really pleasant throughout this last week since wish listing has opened. It's been really pleasant kind of thinking back on my grandfather. I've been searching back in my mind for all these memories from when I was really young about my grandfather and these quirky little interests and things like this that would come up when we went to visit, because we did live a decent distance apart, so we didn't get to see them that often. But it's just so interesting to me, this flood of memories, a lot of them rather foggy because I was very young. But this polish I think is beautiful, and I've been loving this journey this polish has been taking me on this week too. This first pick is by Atomic Polish, California Raisins. This next item up is by a new to me brand. This polish is by Baby Girl Lacquer, and this one is called Forever Unsolved. This polish is described as being a translucent white crelly full of glitters representing the 6 original Rubik's Cube colors: orange, white, blue, green, yellow, and red. Black shards added to represent the outlines of each square. There's only 100 of these available, so the maker at this point is only able to commit to producing 100 of these polishes before it's considered sold out. So if this item remains on my wish list when the shop opens on November the 1st at 11 o'clock AM Eastern Daylight Time, I'll have to make sure that I check out right when the shop opens to be sure that I can secure this item. Now, the moment I saw this polish, I thought, this has got to be Rubik's Cube. I think it's such a perfect interpretation of this inspiration. It seems like every month there's like 1 or 2 polishes that just really get me that way, and the artistry of it, it's just genius. I think that it's absolutely a perfect version of Rubik's Cube. The other thing that's really appealing to me as well is I don't own any polishes by this brand. I did a little bit of research on my own when I saw this listing in Polish Pickup this month just to find out a little bit about this brand, and I'm really quite intrigued. It's actually a brand that's been around for quite a while. I'm just unfamiliar with it, but I'd be really intrigued to try this brand. And the other thing is I'm not exactly sure because it's not listed in the listings here. On their own independent website, Baby Girl Lacquer is actually listed as having 15 milliliter bottles, and at this $10 price point, it's kind of a perfect opportunity to try this polish. If this is in fact a 15 milliliter bottle, it makes this polish one of the more affordable offerings this month. So this polish is by Baby Girl Lacquer, Forever Unsolved. This next polish up is by Cadillacquer, and this one is called Mastermind. This polish was inspired by the Mastermind game, and this one is described as being a brownish red when cold to teal green when warm, thermal, with iridescent flakes in various colors. And this one at this point has an availability cap of only 600 of these being made available this month. There's just something about this polish and its dramatic shift that captured my heart. The contrast between this brownish red and teal green, I think, would be just an incredible amount of fun, especially as the months get cooler in my part of the world. I'm also an elementary teacher, and I know that so often when I wear these wildly shifting thermal polishes, it catches the kids' attention. I teach young kids, so it almost invariably kind of ends up being a little bit of an impromptu science lesson or whatever, with talking about temperature sensitivities and that kind of thing. This polish, I think, would be incredibly fun in my life. I also really like both states of this polish. I think that brownish red really allows those iridescent flakes to pop beautifully. I also think that teal green, there's something about the way it glows in that teal green base as well, where it almost looks kind of summery and underwater. And I don't know, I think that this polish is really quite special. And the moment I saw it, I felt like I had to add it to my wish list. Also, the fact that this one is inspired by the Mastermind game. I loved that game growing up. It was such a simple game, and I always loved the challenge of it. So this one also brings back lots of fond childhood memories. This polish is by Cadillacquer Mastermind. This next polish up is by Chameleon Nails, and it's called Impala. This one was inspired by the Hot Wheels First Editions cars in 1997, in specific, in Impala that I had as a kid. Plum when cold, to colorless sheer white when warm, thermal with blue lilac rose hues while transitioning, filled with black and pink holographic glitters in a variety of sizes. And there's only 200 of these being made available this month. So that's, again, quite a small cap. I'll have to consider shopping right when the shop opens on November 1st at 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time to be sure that I can secure this polish if it ends up making the final cut. Now with this polish, first of all, I actually just thought it was beautiful. There's something kind of seasonless to me about it. I love this white to plum kind of shift. I think it would be beautiful in the winter. It reminds me a little bit of like a spring thaw and some flowers coming out, also summer flowers. And I think this would be beautiful in the fall as well. So for me, it's a little bit of a seasonless polish, but I think it's just really gorgeous. The other thing, though, it's not so much, for me, the Hot Wheels influence, but the fact that this one was called Impala. My other grandfather, I've got a lot of grandfather memories coming up this month. My other grandfather actually drove an Impala when I was very young, and I can vividly remember he also passed away quite early for me. I was quite young when both of my grandfathers passed away, but I can vividly remember we went on this amazing road trip with him in his Impala with my grandmother and my sister, and we went to Pelee Island, which is this incredible destination in Canada. So I just have this wonderful connection this month, all kinds of nostalgia coming back, which I guess really is the theme of this month, and it's working on me. The fact that this one is a beautiful polish, and it reminds me of my other grandfather, in this case quite vividly actually. This one was an immediate add to my wish list. What can I say, but I'm just enamored by all these nostalgic feels this month. So this one is by Chameleon Nails Impala. This next polish up is by Dreamland Lacquer, and it's called Seawinkle. This one was inspired by the Seawinkle seahorse, My Little Pony. And this one is described as being a medium violet Crelly base filled with a mix of aqua blue teal to violet shimmers. And it says that this one is opaque in 2 to 3 coats. And at this point, there is an availability cap on this one of only 600 of these polishes being made available this month. So right from the beginning, I did think that this one was a really beautiful polish, and it did catch my eye, but I didn't quite add it to my wish list at that point. It took until I saw the video swatches by the Polish Mage, and she mentioned in her swatch that this was a top pick for her, and she also mentioned it reminded her of the finish of some of the releases that Dreamland Lacquer has been releasing this past summer. There was really no anecdote from the maker, I don't think, at that point, that this is in fact like a sibling polish or a cousin polish related to some of those polishes that have been released within the last year. But for me, that was almost enough because I've been loving this type of shimmer finish from Dreamland Lacquer. This one isn't at the top of my wish list, but this is one that may just sneak into my shopping cart just because I love those other polishes from Dreamland Lacquer so much. I love the formula. I love the way the shimmer works. in the beautiful, brilliant bases. There's just something a little bit unique about this type of finish if this one, in fact, is part of that polish family. I realize I'm still a little ambiguous, but I guess I should mention two of the polishes that I've purchased recently from this brand that I think may be part of the same family would be Shake Your Shamrock and also Pink Pajama Party, where it has this really interesting, brilliant shimmer in this vibrant, crelly base. So this one is by Dreamland Lacquer, Sea Winkle. This next one up is by Emily DeMolly, and this one is called Alien Lifeform. This polish was inspired by ALF, and this one is described as having a sandy brown base with a pink to green shifting aurora shimmer, and there's only 320 of these being made available this month. Now for me, there's something a little bit grungy about this one. It looks to me like a neutral polish with a little bit of a grunge factor to it. It may not be actually grungy, but there's just something about some of these swatch photos where it gives me that kind of effect, and I love it. To me, it just adds so much interest and intrigue, and I don't know, a little bit of an edge, I guess, to a neutral leaning polish. I just love this one. And again, when I saw that this one was inspired by ALF, well, ALF, I didn't own an ALF doll or anything like that, but I did watch the show, and ALF, I know, was so much a part of pop culture at the time when I was growing up. ALF was really only around for just sort of a window of time when it came out, so that really dates me a little bit. But I have vivid memories of this, and I really like everything about this polish. I think that I would get a ton of use out of it in my life. I find that lately, actually, I've been drawn to my neutrals heavily, and it kind of surprises me because I love the brilliance and the wildness of so many indie polishes, but I really have been pulling from my neutrals collection, my neutrals indie collection, quite often lately. And I just know that this one would fit really well with my lifestyle and with my life the way it is right now, where I'm often having to pick some neutrals. And a neutral like this would be a whole lot of fun for me. This polish is by Emily DeMolly, Alien Lifeform. This next polish is kind of a funny one for me. It keeps coming on and off and on and off of my wish list. Right now, it's on. So this polish is by Ethereal, and it's called Haunted Furby. This one was inspired by a suspected haunted green Furby from the maker's childhood, and it's described as having a sheer taupe base with strong green to aqua and blue shimmer, and there's only 700 of these being made available. Now, I'm a green lover, so for me, the moment I saw this polish, I added it to my wish list. But the more I thought about it, the more I've been thinking, I've been buying so many greens lately, and I keep thinking, do I really need another green? But I truly have nothing like this one. The fact that this one is actually in a sheer taupe base with this strong shimmer, Ethereal Lacquer has been producing quite a few of these polishes lately with that wildly strong shimmer. This one, I don't have anything in my collection at all like this one. I've heard that this one, in fact, is a polish related to Ethereal's very popular Lorraine, which I don't have, actually. Maybe I have a little bit of FOMO about Lorraine, so that's another reason why this one keeps coming back on my wish list. I don't know, there's something about it. I have been purchasing far too many greens lately, but I love green. But there's just something about this one. I can see the sheerness here in the lower left image, but I think it's beautiful. It is a wildly bright shimmer. And I know I have nothing like it. I know I love green. I'll have to see what happens when the shop opens on Friday to see if this one still makes it into my shopping cart. I really do love this one, and the fact that I'm so on the fence about it, I worry that I might be really upset if I don't go ahead and buy it as a green lover. So I have a lot of thinking to do about this one. This polish is by Ethereal, Haunted Furby. This next polish up is by Garden Path Lacquers, and it's called Truly Truly. Now, I love the story that goes along with this one. A Gem in the Holograms inspired tribute to the maker's dad, because when the maker was 3 or 4, he was the only one who could figure out what I meant when I insisted that I needed a Truly Truly doll. Truly Truly is a clear base filled with blue holographic microglitter, pink, blue, gold shifting large particle aurora shimmer, and a mix of purple, pink, and blue matte circle glitters in various sizes and small matte hot pink hex glitters. There is so much happening in this polish, but the thing that really got me, first of all, Gem and the Holograms inspiration. I loved Gem and the Holograms growing up. I didn't have any of the Gem and the Holograms dolls at all, unfortunately, but I loved the cartoon. Growing up, I loved Gem and the Holograms, Barbie and the Rockers, all that great stuff. And yeah, Gem and the Holograms, though, was my preference of the two. But when I saw this polish beside its inspiration image, I couldn't get over how absolutely perfect the execution of this polish was, matching up with the inspiration. I just look at it and I see that backdrop, that background, that look of the Gem and the Holograms cartoon. Like, it's actually unbelievable how close the maker got with this look. It blows my mind. I just think this one's a work of art. It's funny, I do have to think a little bit, I think, about how often I might wear a polish like this one, how it might fit into my life. But I just think that this is art in a bottle. I can't really say enough about how the maker has done this month. I think it's beautiful. And I really do feel strongly about this one. And there is so much in this polish. Like, this is, it's kind of a kitchen sink polish, but yet it's bang on the inspiration. So I really can't say enough about this one. There's something about this one that's making this one a top pick for me. So this one is by Garden Path Lacquers, Truly Truly. This next polish up is by Kathleen & Co., Glow So Bright. This polish was inspired by Light Bright, and it's described as having a black base with large particle red shimmer and a variety of colorful hollow micro glitters. This was actually one of the very first polishes that I saw in the Polish Pickup Facebook group this month, and it stopped me in my tracks. I did have a Light Bright growing up, and this to me is just so ethereal and perfect in terms of its inspiration. I think that this polish as well is completely unique in my collection. I have a number of black hollow polishes, but nothing quite like this, with this rainbow sparkle of all these colorful micro glitters. I think that this one would be so gorgeous and elegant and fun. The depth of this polish too, I could see myself wearing it a lot throughout the winter, but I think it's an anytime kind of dark polish. I think this is fun and whimsical, but also kind of edgy and elegant at the same time. This polish is so much for me, and another one of my top picks this month. So this one is by Kathleen & Co., Glow So Bright. This next polish up is by Night Owl Lacquer, and this one's called Strawberry Shortcake. This polish was inspired by strawberry shortcake toys. This is a clear base with red metallic flakes, green, blue, fuchsia, violet shifting crystal flakes, and red reflective glitter pigment. And luckily, there's no listed cap for this one, so that means the maker can produce however many is needed to fulfill all orders this month. So I did actually own a strawberry shortcake toy, and I can just remember, I think it had kind of a sweet, soft smell to it as well, if my memory serves me correctly. I was quite young when I had it. Anyway, this polish, from how I remember it, is again such a perfect interpretation of the inspiration. And also a very completely unique polish. I have nothing like this one in my collection either. So this one's another that brings back all kinds of nostalgic memories for me, including, I think, some smells, which is kind of interesting. If you had a strawberry shortcake doll, do let me know. Like, I'm remembering a scent that went along with a strawberry shortcake doll, like a sweetness, I guess sort of perhaps a strawberry kind of scent. But I probably would have been like 4 or 5 when I had the doll. So I'm going way back in my memory. But do let me know in the comments if you ever had one too. But yeah, I just think this one is so gorgeous. Again, brings back all kinds of memories. And this is so utterly unique. I kind of wonder too if this one might make a fun topper in my collection. I don't use toppers all that often, but it's really quite interesting. This polish is another top pick of mine this month. There's just something about it where I want to own this one. This one is by Night Owl Lacquer, Strawberry Shortcake. This next polish up is by Phoenix, and it's called Applejack. This one was inspired by My Little Pony. Applejack has a yellow jelly base with purple to red Aurora shimmer and black to red microflakies, and there's only 300 of these being made available. Now, My Little Pony actually was part of my childhood, but I didn't have Applejack. That wasn't one of the ones in my collection. Actually, I can remember one of the ones that I loved the most out of the few that I had. I didn't have very many, but was Glory, and it was like a unicorn My Little Pony with kind of a shooting star, and it was a white My Little Pony, kind of with this like indigo and turquoise mane or whatever. Like that was kind of my Little Pony that I loved so much, my favorite one with the shooting star. But I do remember Applejack, and this one is just such an utterly unique polish. I've got to think about this one as well. I think it is just unlike anything I've ever seen. When I saw this polish on the Polish Pickup website, it was kind of an immediate add to wish list because of its originality. So where I don't really have a connection with the inspiration, I mean, this polish, I could see myself wearing it all the time right now, like as a fall polish, also as a summery kind of polish too. I think that this polish is super unique, and I think with the variety of components in this polish too, I think it would be worn across seasons for me too, in a really surprising way. Such a unique offering. I'm kind of left speechless by this polish. Just really cool. This one is by Phoenix Applejack. The last item on my wish list this month is by Wildflower Lacquer, and this one is called Poochie. This one was inspired by Poochie, the robot dog, and it's described as having a navy base packed with aqua to blue to purple shifting shimmer. And at this point, there is also no cap for this one. I didn't own a Poochie, but some of my friends did actually, and I can remember it quite vividly. A really kind of cool toy, and this is the perfect Poochie blue. Like this is Poochie blue. If they could brand this, that would be what this is. Just a really vibrant, fun color. And I don't have a whole lot of really vibrant blues quite like this one. This one again was an immediate add to wish list. Also, this is going to be one of the last offerings that Wildflower Lacquer will be having as Wildflower Lacquer before they go through their rebrand process and become Royal Elite. But I'm trying to get a hold of all my Wildflower Lacquers that are catching my eye while I can, because Wildflower was actually part of the very first order that I made in Polish Pickup, and actually it also was a blue kind of indigo polish. The first one I ever bought through Polish Pickup by Wildflower was called Stolen Flame. So this one is a little bit of a simpler, more truer blue polish rather than the very flaky Stolen Flame. But I kind of love how this one is bringing my Polish Pickup experience with Wildflower kind of full circle. So this one is another one quite high on my wish list this month. This one is by Wildflower Lacquer, Poochie. So that's it for my wish list this month. I've kept myself a little bit more in check this time with just 12 first impressions picks. That's really not so bad for me. Often I go way above that. And I do need to keep myself in check a little bit this month, watching the budget and just purchasing the ones that I really feel strongly about. I've got 12 excellent contenders, and I'll whittle it down from there before the shop opens on November the 1st. So the Polish Pickup shop does open on November the 1st at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it runs until November the 4th. So I'm wondering, are you planning on purchasing from Polish Pickup this month? If you are, which items are catching your eye? I'd love to know all your thoughts. Please feel free to leave your comments below, and we can continue on the conversation long after. If you enjoy wishlisting content like this, please consider giving this video a like. It indicates to me that you like Polish Pickup wishlist videos, and I'll try my best in the months ahead to continue to produce content similar to this as often as I can. As well, if you enjoy nail-related content in general, please consider subscribing. I try to release nail-related content as often as I possibly can, and by subscribing, you won't miss out on any of the fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy shopping. Hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. Take care. Bye.